Welcome to Be Bold Branding. Today's guest is one of our BrandFace real estate agents in Seattle, Washington, and she's faced some challenges, both personal and business, during this year of COVID. And today we're about to learn how her brand has helped her stay focused through it all. I'm Tanya Eberhardt, founder of BrandFace. We help real estate agents differentiate themselves, and we do that through personal branding. In fact, we're the only comprehensive personal brand building system across the globe.
Hey folks, I'm Michael Carr. I'm the COO of BrandFace. I was actually a client of BrandFace before I became a partner in it. And we do the Be Bold branding to help you take the fear out of putting yourself out there. And we would like to welcome somebody that is very good at that, Miss Cindy Clement. Thank you so much and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you, Cindy. So first of all, let's start out with telling everybody how and why you got into real estate.
I wanted something, this is like my second act. I'd been in the graphics industry for over 30 years and marketing and print. And I was looking for something that could move me into retirement without losing the type of energy that I feed on as a person, to have something to do and work with people. And so I had always wanted to do real estate, thought about it around 2008 and kind of saw the writing on the wall, and I really wasn't ready to jump in quite yet. And my kids were still at home, and I wasn't ready to give up my weekends, which, is part of the deal. And then finally, in 2016, I said, yep, this is the time. And I've been doing it for going on 5 years.
Now, why did you decide to come into the BrandFace program?
Well, I was intrigued by I think it was a Facebook ad, actually, that I saw Tanya, and then I went for it. Of course, being in the graphics industry, I understand branding as a powerful tool and how that can resonate. Everybody knows what the swoosh means without even seeing the word. So that resonated with me when I saw the ad. The first time I talked to Tanya, I was like, we just connected really well. And it was the difference, right? And I've been in the program ever since.
Yeah, that's I remember awesome. That phone call with you, Cindy, because we were kindred spirits in the advertising world, in the media world, and we have both, been in it for a while, and in our early years seen so many people waste money marketing, right? Mm-hmm. And we knew that, that main reason that a lot of them wasted money was they really didn't have that point of differentiation, which is what we're all about. So next question for you is, was there anything really that you were afraid of or apprehensive about coming into the program?
Just, like anything, you're not sure what's going to resonate. I was new in the business too. And although a lot of things translated from my previous work, I still wasn't sure if the lack of years in the industry would transcend the branding, right? And to be honest with you, I just kind of went for it, and knowing that I trusted branding, and you guys had not, I haven't seen anything like what you guys did prior to that. And as you know, new agents get bombarded with the greatest things here and there, and I've made my mistakes by every stretch, but this has actually held true throughout. But yeah, I was afraid that it wasn't going to stick, right? It wasn't, but once we got into the and I pulled the trigger on going for it, just never really looked back. And that's I think what helped too was the deep dive you do. And that may be a question a little bit later, but yeah, just the deep dive in who I am and what I want to put out there was very important. And I trusted that, and I trusted you.
That's awesome. And
Thank you.
we can't hear better words than that. That's the honest truth. And for everybody that will watch this, I want to say, like, Cindy never misses a Wednesday webinar. She's been a part of this program and this family since she joined, and she's gone all in on her brand. And so let's talk about that, right? Do you want to tell everybody what your brand identifier is and how that fits you so well?
Yeah, I'm the empowerment agent, and how we came about that was just kind of doing a deep dive on kind of what makes me tick, just getting just taking the energy of people around me, collaboration, and helping get to that end result, whatever that is. And so when I got my license, it wasn't but 4 weeks after I hung my license, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And that kind of was a gut punch. And if anybody has gone through this, you don't, when you hear the diagnosis, you're like, oh, so what's that mean? And you don't realize how many paths that may take. And so you go through weeks of staging of, okay, how bad is it? What's the prognosis? What's the plan for treatment and all of that. So all through that though, I was like, this is going to keep me down. I still worked with my mentor. I showed houses. I did the things that you would continue to do trying to build your business. Of course, I was taken out of commission after surgeries, and there were multiple, but thank God I did not have to have chemo or radiation. So that was excellent. And so then 6 months later, I had my first listing in the January of 2017. But what that ties into empowerment is it's what's possible, right? It's staying positive. It's not going to beat me. For my buyers, yeah, you lost the first two, but you got, it's going to happen for you. Just having that dialogue and having that real deep down understanding of the fears that buyers and sellers have coming in to that decision, right? And so really understanding and listening and staging their progress to a fruition of ownership or their investment selling at top dollar. So that all comes around, and the empowerment word is so powerful to say, I got your back. And that's kind of how we came to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was that double entendre. It's like you are an empowering person, right? You empower other people by helping them, guiding them, making them feel at ease through the process. And then that in turn, combined with the personal things that you went through with the breast cancer and working through all of that and everything, you empowered yourself. And those two things to us were just a shoe-in for you. It's like, Cindy, this is who you are. You are an empowering person. And it almost immediately resonated with you. I remember that.
Mm-hmm. I remember it too. And, to overcome such obstacles, especially in your personal life. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about how just your territory that you're working in and how that's been affected. And yet you have still maintained that empowerment thought process. Not only is it innate in you and you have overcome major obstacles, you help people realize, I've got this. It may seem like a mountain to you, but I've climbed this mountain 100 times. 1,000 times. I can show you the way. And that is empowering. And then you do it so graciously, and so beautifully. You carry your brand 100%. And we're so proud to see you do that.
You make us very proud.
Thank you.
You bet.
For sure.
So going through the process, choosing a brand identifier is just like the beginning of the process. That's not where it ends. That's really just where it begins. So going through the process, tell us what was the easiest part for you and what was the hardest part.
probably the easiest part, which I loved about your program, was the elevator pitch. And having that little morsel to memorize and you know, use in sound bites that either in emails, your marketing, or just on a video call or phone, it really drills down to what you're trying to get out, and hopefully you know, tweaks their curiosity on okay, so what does that really mean for me? And because it was, that was what brought it all together. Now the hardest thing was, but again, you guys are so good at this, and that's drawing out all of that information that you use to come up with the brand for me, the identifier, is because you are exposing a lot of information, emotion, and it really is so therapeutic though at the same time, and I love doing it. It's not easy to sometimes expose all of that even to yourself. And I know that even watching other BrandFace people, how emotional you can get when you're hearing these things, and kind of really reliving things that impacted your own life so much, and it just all comes up to the surface, and you're like, wow, that's pretty wild.
Pretty heavy stuff
Yeah,
It is.
sometimes.
It is.
but
But you
awesome.
know, it's so true. Like if it doesn't kill us, it makes us stronger, right? And
Yes.
that's so cliche, but yet it's so true. It'll never not be true, right? It's always going to be an axiom. And
Yeah.
so for that, like, how has your brand made you bolder once we brought that together and infused
Yeah.
who you are into that?
Yeah, I love that question, because I also had a transition, you know, from one brokerage to a different brokerage. And for that, the reason of not feeling like the other brokerage had my back. And I realized that's what my buyers and sellers want, right? And so, and the move to my new brokerage has just totally solidified that. They're you know, they just do a great job in showing that we are there for them, both, you know, just supporting, knowing the market that we're in, and just information and being ready for them, and so that's what helped empower my brand too, because I just had so much more confidence going in. It's hard moving from a industry that you're an authority on and getting into another industry where it is very legal heavy, and you're thinking, oh my God, one bad step is going to land me in a lawsuit or something, right? So that was a struggle for me to keep moving, you know, my feet forward on certain things, because I didn't want to make a mistake. And so when I hear, and when we landed on empowerment broker, I'm like, I gotta live that. And so I'm using that word all the time, every day, and it just reinforced what I was bringing in to the table, you know, and the other word, the differentiator. That's been extremely powerful in making the difference when I'm at a listing presentation or a buying presentation. I'm seeing it resonate so much more than without it. So I I don't know. I think it just all solidified when I made that move from one to another, and just again starting to use the brand every place that I'm at. So that helped tremendously.
We always like to say a great brand doesn't just change the way others see you, it changes the way you see yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
agreed. I
Mhm.
wholeheartedly.
So before we kind of go into the last question and wrap up, Cindy, you had two daughters this year that got married during COVID. Tell us
Yes.
how you handled that.
Well, we call it the reimagined weddings,
I love it.
because uh, it was crazy. I mean, it was going to be crazy to begin with. This is how you make lemonade out of lemons,
Right.
and you go for it and you just do it, and it will work. And that's because we'll make sure it works.
That's right.
Well, you've done that as a breast cancer survivor, as a professional woman in real estate, as a mom of two daughters getting married during COVID.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know what you couldn't accomplish, Cindy.
I even have to say, like, being in Seattle, that was ground zero, and like you still kept the train moving, you still kept things rolling, and now luckily we're working our way out of that, and continuing. And real estate has continued to do good. Thank heavens for that. And but you're quintessential of somebody who took their brand. You never backed up. You live it every day, 100%. And you have championed through what so far was the toughest thing that many of us have even seen in our lifetime. So it's hats off to you, Cindy.
We're
You've
proud
done
of you.
incredibly well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And there are many business owners and entrepreneurs, sales pros out there right now that may be afraid to put themselves out there in a way that like you have, and continue to do that, even in the face of major obstacles, right? And entire state shutdowns, I might add, you know what I'm saying? And you've continued to do that. What would you say to those people becoming a brand face and starting their brand face journey?
Yeah, I mean, I think it teaches you so much about yourself right off the bat that you may not have even thought about. And then it concentrates all those strengths that you have into something that is tangible, right? Making that decision to come into the brand face is, to me, it is an easy decision. It's to me, it's affordable. It gives you that path, right? It's kind of like the guys with the flashlights guiding the airplane, right? It's like, here, and because you give us that roadmap to, and permission in a way to understand our own powers, our own powers to do what we decided to do. People that get into real estate aren't babies. they just aren't, they know at least that there's something about real estate that is pulling them. And it's figuring out how you can make it the business that you want it for yourself, and that is about attracting the clients that you have the most fun with and the most to give to. And that is one thing that helped me focus, was my brand identifier, all the tools that you guys put out there and make available for us. The weekly, talk about the weekly BrandFace meetings, webinars, they're just so great, and you learn something every time, and you meet new people, you extend your referral network all over the nation, and it's great. And even, I mean, I found a real estate agent in my backyard. She ended up moving across country, but we still have that nice connection. And so it is just so valuable. Like, I think the other thing is, and again, I came into it knowing about photo shoots and what to choose fashion wise on photo shoots, but your program even gives guidance to that, that will make the marketing that you put out so polished and ready for prime time, right? It's just that much better than most of what you see out there. And I've just totally enjoy being part of BrandFace.
Oh,
We've enjoyed you being a part
absolutely
of it.
we have. We're
Yeah.
very proud to have you, Cindy, and the family.
And, you know, to all of our other people who'll be watching this podcast and people thinking about getting into it, thinking about branding, hearing about branding and not knowing what that is, we've got a way for you to find out more and how we can share more with you about your situation. You can go to discussyourbrand.com. That's discussyourbrand.com and schedule a 30-minute session, free, absolutely free, with one of our staff members to just talk about branding and where you are or where you might want to get.
If you like what you heard today, and we encourage you to please like it, share it, love it, and most of all, ding,
Ring the bell.
Subscribe so you can be the first one to know when the next podcast premieres.
Cindy, you're so fantastic. Again, thank you so much for being a part of this and being part of the family now forever. And we love that. And we wish you all the success in the world. And we stay here right beside you to help make sure that you obtain it in any way that we can help you. So
I feel that you guys are great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cindy. So happy to have you.
Yep. And Cindy knows this because I do it all the time at the end of the webinar. But folks, we know that it's about prosperity. That's why we do what we do. And there's nothing wrong with prosperity. But when we talk about prosperity, we're not just talking about making money. That's cold and boring. We're talking about the 360 of an abundant and happy and content life. We know at BrandFace that prosperity favors the bold. So we say, be bold, folks, especially with your brand. And thank you, Miss Tanya. And thank you, Miss Cindy, for your time.
All right. Thank you so
again,
much.
Cindy. You're awesome. All right, guys, we'll see you here next time on Be Bold Branding.